What's good, world? I'm about to give y'all a lyrics breakdown of the 9th Wonder Freestyle featuring Son of Barnabas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into 4-bar sections, and then I'm just going to tell you basically what I mean in the lyrical content. I said, what's going on in the world? All I see is loco motives. Men bragging about riding trains, no locomotives. Full throttle, disease cargo, no emotion, lies are broadcasted. What is your show promoting? And so, let's break this down. The first thing I said is what's going on in the world. All I see is locomotives. All I see is crazy things. People doing crazy stuff for no reason. And then I said that men are bragging about riding trains, no locomotives. And that's self-explanatory. Then I says full throttle, diseased cargo, no emotions. So not only are we bragging about running trains and things like that, we're doing it knowing that we're infected with some sort of STD. So there's no emotions involved, because men aren't even telling women and women aren't even telling men when they have a sexual relationship with one another that one of them has STD, and then the other person catches it, and then it's like a trend, man. People just keep on spreading and spreading and spreading. And then I said lives are broadcasted. What is your show promoting? I like to think of if we had true reality television and there's cameras about our daily lives everywhere we went and everywhere we did, even things that we do in our private time. What are we really promoting with our lifestyles? And the next 4 bars says, displaying realities, we stray from the truth. How does the engine lead if it's chasing a boost? If we were slaves now, we'd be making the news. Face it, the rod's vacant because we hated reproof. So displaying realities, we stray from the truth. If I'm watching our television shows, all that I'm really seeing broadcasted is that we're straying away from the truth. And then I said, how does the engine lead if it's chasing a boost? If the engine's supposed to be leading the train, where is it really going if it's chasing after the caboose of another train? Let me break that down even more for you. If I myself am a man, how could I lead you anywhere if all that I'm chasing is another person's backside? If I'm looking for some shorty or whatever that I can do whatever with, I can't lead like that. I said if we were slaves now, we'd be making the news. So if we were still slaves, and it's not towards African Americans, it's for everybody who's been freed by the blood of the Lamb. But if we were still slaves, we'd be making our own nooses. We'd be inventing ways to essentially hang ourselves. We'd be digging pits for us to fall in. And then I said, face it, the rod's vacant because we hated reproof. So the rod of correction is however you decide to discipline your child. I believe in spanking kids. Just to be honest with you guys, I got spanked when I was little and I'm perfectly normal. But anyways, I'm not here to offend anybody. But what I'm saying in that line is that we don't have correction anymore because people genuinely hate it. So if one generation hates it, then they pass it on to the next generation. Where's the correction between generations anymore? It doesn't happen. Produce. Are they hating the trees or hating the fruits? The uncouth wild axes tried slaying the root. See, we're more enslaved mentally than history's Jews. No excuse for thinking sinning is essentially cool. Alright, so produce. We know that according to Galatians chapter 5, I want to say starting at verse 21, it talks about the fruit of the Spirit, it talks about fruits of righteousness, which we are to produce as believers. So I'm saying, I'm encouraging you guys to produce. And the next line it says, are they hating the tree or hating the fruits? So when you, just like God told Samuel, said, Samuel, they don't reject you, they really rejected me. So all I'm saying in that line is people are going to hate, but are they hating you? Or are they hating what you come from? Or are they hating who that you're a part of? And they said the uncouth with axes tried slaying the root. So crazy people, they actually try to slay Jesus. I mean, he's God in the flesh. That Anyways, that's foolishness. And then I said, see, we're more enslaved mentally than history's Jews. And we see, according to the Bible, how many times the Jewish nation had to go through because of disobedience. But now, it's not so much as a physical thing anymore. As what I see now is people are enslaved in their own minds. Worse than the Jews were enslaved physically during their time. I said there's no excuse for thinking that sinning is essentially cool. It's not cool at all. It actually separates us from the presence of God, which we spend so much time to get back to the garden state, to where we can walk with God in the cool of the day, where we can fellowship with our Creator. But we can't even do that because that sin is it's unpleasing in His sight. He doesn't like it. And then the last 4 bars says, were we meant to be fools and fall victims to that cinnamon wool, the same lies that had our centuries fooled. Hell is reserved for Satan and his sizzling fools. JC is the AC that keeps us centrally cool. So, the first line says, were we meant to be fools and fall victim to that cinnamon wool. You ever heard that expression, pulling the wool over somebody's eyes? That's all that is. So, if we keep on falling victims, if we keep on continuing down that path that had the centuries before us fooled, we're being foolish. I'm not trying to say that we're foolish, because I love everybody. But if we believe this, if we just believe what everybody always hands to us, that's borderline foolishness. I've even heard pastors and men of God say that, hey, you don't have to believe me, you can read it for yourself, which is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to read it for ourselves anyway. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the assembling of the brethren, because that's also something that we ought to do. If we never assemble together, how can we even operate in the spirit of unity? Said, which I went on to say, the same lies that had our centuries fooled. Then I said, hell is reserved for Satan and his sizzling fools. Man, I'm so sick of these cartoons. I'm so sick of thinking that Satan is in hell. If Satan was in hell already, how could he even be that roaring lion that walks around seeking whom he may devour? We know that Satan is the prince of the air. And it's literally talking about this earth realm. So, if Satan was already imprisoned into hell, we'd be in heaven already. I'm going to say it like that. We are be in heaven. We are be in that new Jerusalem, that new heaven, and that new earth, which will come out from God. And the last line that says JC, short for Jesus Christ, is the AC that keeps us centrally cool. That's self-explanatory, meaning that we've accepted Jesus Christ into our hearts, that we have received the adoptions of Son, whereby we cry, Abba, Father, because we are now adopted into the family of God. And we are adopted into the family of God. That means we're joint heirs with Jesus Christ Himself. And that's it, man. Stay tuned. I might give y'all some more lyrics videos, but I need some feedback, people. Feedback. Alright? 1.